Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Still with you in this very special edition of Women's World, and we're very much honored to have with us today Mrs. Dalia Youssef, International Relations Specialist and also former Member of Parliament. Great having you with us, Mrs. Dalia, and happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day to you as well.
Thank you. Now, to start with, the significance of celebrating Mother's Day on the official level. Now, it's not just a celebration among the family members. It's an official celebration that is being honored and attended even by the President himself and, of course, the First Lady. How do you see that?
Well, one of the highlights of this administration has been the focus President Sisi's administration has given to women. And Egyptian women, I always say when we travel abroad and talk about the transitional period that Egypt has been going through in this last decade, that one of our strongest highlights actually is empowering women. The focus on empowering women, I think, ignites from the fact that President Sisi and his administration realize that no democracy can be achieved without the role of not the role of well, half of the society.
And development as well, not only democracy.
Democracy,
well.
No economic development can be reached without, of course, the role of women. So it's, as a whole, it is very important to empower women. It's very important to realize that women and mothers, and on the occasion of Mother's Day, are responsible for bringing out generations that will be building this country and that build this society. So a healthy mother, a happy mother, a productive woman means a healthier society, better well-being of men, and our community as well. And you know, under this umbrella, I think President Sisi and his administrations have been very keen on the role of women in our society.
Yes. Mrs. Dalia, yesterday the President highlighted certain topics during his speech, and he was really keen to discuss the concerns of women, if we may say, here in Egypt. That included the personal status law, living in a safe environment, especially if they are using, when they are using public transportation. So the President not only honored distinguished women, but he also directed the Parliament to quickly issue a special law, an independent law, to ban early marriage of girls under the legal age, and to clearly state the legal age of girls, and also to take all the necessary measures to protect women in public transportation. How do you see that?
Excellent moves. We're taking milestones. What's happening now is that Egyptian women under this administration have been taking milestones towards achieving their well-being and their protection. And all this is, as we said earlier, is in order to empower her to give more to her society. The early age of marriage is extremely important. The personal status law is something that we started in Parliament, in this last Parliament when I was involved, but we did not finish. I do think it is very important. It has been quite a controversial law, and of course many sectors of the society have been involved in this discussion. But this discussion needs to be continued. And definitely we need this personal law out, because it means a comfortable environment for working women. We need not forget that a third of the Egyptian women are leading their families. They are caretakers of their families. So it's very important to also have a safe environment and a comfortable environment for them and for their children. Concerning the age of marriage, this is very important because, as you know, especially in rural Egypt, we do have a concern with the early marriage of our girls.
Yes.
And 18 is the international average age of marriage. I would like to see our parliament work on that. Many countries in the world have different ages now, and they range from 16 to 21, but I think the parliament will have a healthy discussion on what the proper age is here in our country. Sexual harassment, we had a law actually come out in the last 2015 parliament penalizing sexual harassment. But what President Sisi is trying to do here, I think, is to provide more protection by narrowing the
phenomenon itself.
Exactly. So now he's talking about preventing sexual harassment or any occasions that could allow that within public transportation, which is also just extra protective measures that are being taken, and all this is to the advantage, of course, of our women.
Of course. When the
Sorry,
president...
also SMEs. I think he
Yes.
spoke about SMEs.
Yes, I was just going to ask you about
Go ahead.
that.
I'm sorry, I jumped in.
He also talked, he assigned the projects agency or Ghaz al-Mashru'at and also the central bank. The president assigned the central bank to study discrimination based on gender or gender-based discrimination when it comes to loans for women. That was one thing. He also assigned the projects agency to cooperate in order to implement certain programs for the benefit of women and to support women, especially rural women, and also to financially educate women, to teach them how to run their own business. And that was very important.
You know, of course it's important for the government to be handling these issues, awareness, where it comes to financial awareness, SMEs for women. We've been talking about these projects for women for ages, especially in rural Egypt. But I think even more than that, we need to ask our civil society and our political street to be a little bit more aggressive towards tackling issues like that. Issues like projects, SMEs for women is very important in the rural areas. I think the civil society can play a huge role in that. Awareness of marriage age is also...
Especially that they are very active in rural areas. They are already
Exactly,
there
they
and
are.
they want the confidence of the people there.
So actually what the president was talking about yesterday seemed to be ipso facto issues that we would think the civil society and our political parties should have been more actively participating in. Awareness concerning financial statuses of financial management, concerning SMEs, concerning marriage ages. We had an issue that we were always trying to tackle, and I think this administration specifically was focused on, and that was women prisoners based on economic crises.
Al-Gharimat.
Al-Gharimat.
Yes.
This has been a huge issue that they have been trying to tackle through paying through the fund, Tahya Masr fund. But I think to tackle an issue, you need to look at the roots. And the roots of the issue is the financial management, and the SMEs will provide a better Haya Karima, like one of the initiatives
life,
is, a better decent life for women, and then we will not go into the issue of prisoners, women prisoners, based on their economic crisis.
Yes, and speaking of which, speaking of women prisoners or Al-Gharimat, the president also assigned the concerned ministries, especially, of course, the Ministry of Social Solidarity and the Ministry of Finance, to cut down the phenomenon, to work on, to have a strategy or a plan to cut down this phenomenon, and also to contribute in facilitating the measures when it comes to the initiatives that you just mentioned, Mrs.
You know,
Dalia?
for the first time in Egyptian history, we have had an administration that has been talking about even the simplest details. You mentioned a little while ago that the president has asked the central bank
Yes.
to research and study the fact of discrimination concerning loans requested by women. You know, this is such a detail.
Yes.
For the administration to focus on is a gift, really. It's important because all this is tackling the roots. The problem, when you tackle the problem from its roots, then you don't end up with huge issues like we have had in the past concerning prisoners here, as we were talking. You know, usually in many countries around the world, you do not have prisoners based on economic crisis. So you need to find at the end, what we need to find is, I call them gender gap policies. You need to resolve gender gap policies and solutions.
Yes.
The World Economic Forum, the last World Economic Forum, many experts were talking about 99 years before we can close the subject of gender gap issues. So this is a long period of time, but I think Egypt is going a long way. 25 is our golden number because 25% of, now 27% of parliament now are women, 25% of the national councils are women, 25% of the central bank board are women, 25% of our foreign diplomats are women. So 25 seems to be our golden number now. Is it enough? No, I don't think it's enough. Rwanda, the parliament in Rwanda is 61% women. So we still do have a long way to go, but we're definitely on the right track.
Definitely. And I was glad that yesterday the president, the celebration marking Mother's Day was not just a celebration to honor women, but actually to discuss the roots of the problems when it comes to empowering women. So that was really important.
It's important because, like we just said, if you do not tackle women problems, if you do not provide the roots of the problems, and if you do not provide a comfortable environment where women can be empowered, you do not have a healthy society.
Quickly, Mrs. Dalia, how do you see the achievements of women in the past few years since President Abdel Fattah Sisi took office and he put women on top of the priorities of the state? How do you see the economic and the political achievements of women in the past years?
Historical. We have not had a president before that has been so keen on empowering women. For the first time in our history, for instance, we have a national security advisor, Dr. Faiza Abu Naga, that is a security advisor for the President of the Republic, that is a woman. Like I just mentioned, the numbers have increased. You know, throughout the decades, we started women in parliament. Rawia Atiyah was our first parliamentarian in 1957. Since 1957 to 2012, which was the MB parliament, the seats of women, the highest number of seats we had with a quota were 18. Now, with President Sisi's administration, we speak about 90 seats in our first parliament, and in our second parliament, we speak about 162 seats, which is 27%. The American Congress has 25% of the seats are women. The French is 31%. You know, we're nearly there. We're nearly there.
We are on the right track, and yes, we do aspire for more. I'd like to thank you very much, Mrs. Dalia Youssef, International Relations Specialist and former member of the Egyptian Parliament. Thank you very much for being with us today, and happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us in this very special edition of Women's World. I'm Halal Hamalawi signing off for now.
invitaye ba ako?